Hey, what's going on? Ben here from blogwithben.com, and today I'm going to walk you through the process of creating a dynamic live chat widget and smart chatbot using Freshchat, and then seamlessly integrate it into your WordPress website or blog. And if you haven't signed up for Freshchat yet, now is the perfect time to explore its potential by clicking on the affiliate link in the description below or visiting the one appearing on your screen, which is blogwithben.com/Freshchat. You can get a 14-day free trial. And this trial period is a fantastic opportunity to experience firsthand how Freshchat can streamline your support and sales interactions without any commitment. And remember, using my affiliate link doesn't cost you anything extra. In fact, it's a win-win. You get to try an outstanding service for free, and it supports this channel so I can continue to bring you valuable content like this tutorial. So use that link, get your 14-day free trial, and then you can follow along in this video. And real quick, before we get started, if you get any value out of this tutorial, I would greatly appreciate it if you would subscribe to the Blog with Ben YouTube channel. Helps me bring you more resources and keeps you up to date with all the web and tech trends happening throughout the year. But either way, thank you so much for all your support. All right, with that being said, let's build a live chat widget and chatbot. Okay, so if this is your very first time using Freshchat, I highly recommend that you check out my other review and tutorial for Freshchat. I've linked to it in the video description below, but that video goes a little deeper into the overall platform as a whole. Now, you can definitely still get by with this video, you're still going to learn a lot, but if you want a more in-depth walkthrough of Freshchat, then I highly recommend checking out that other video. Alright, with that out of the way, the first thing we're going to do here is build our web chat widget. This will not only give your site's visitors a way to interact with you and your employees, but it will also allow you to facilitate a chatbot. And having a chatbot on your site can significantly enhance user experience by providing instant 24/7 responses to customer or business inquiries and resolving issues promptly, which at the end of the day can lead to improved customer satisfaction and loyalty. So with that being said, let's build this chat web widget. Okay, so anytime you need to access your chat web widget, you're going to do so through your admin settings. So from your dashboard on the left-hand side nav, hover your mouse over the gear icon and click on Admin Settings. And once again, this will obviously take you to your admin settings. And I want to point out that for my personal workflow, I spend a lot of time here in the admin settings. And when you have some extra time, I recommend browsing through the various sections of the admin settings to get a better feel for where things are and what is actually here. Now, most of your Freshchat features are listed and accessible within the admin settings. So the more familiar you are with this, the easier time you'll have getting acclimated to the product as a whole. And as I mentioned earlier, we're going to spend a lot of time here throughout this video, so hopefully you'll start to get comfortable with the admin settings very soon. All right, with that being said, let's build our chat widget. So within the chat channel section, click on Web Chat. It should be the first one listed there, and this will give you the ability to build and customize the chat web widgets that will be on your site. And this will bring you to your chat widget management menu. This is where you can organize which channels your web widgets are associated with. You can add new widgets and customize current ones if needed. Now by default, Freshworks starts you with a default web widget, which should be the only one listed at the moment since this is our first chat web widget. And as I just mentioned, you can add new ones here as needed by clicking the new widget button. But we're going to be using the default one, so to begin customizing it, click on where it says Web Widget. And this will bring you to the widget's customization menu. On the left is where you'll configure it, and we'll go over this in greater detail in just a few moments. And then on the right, you'll get a preview of what it will look like. You can even use the preview widget to test the functionality before adding it to your site, and we'll do that as well in just a bit. Okay, with that being said, let me give you a quick tour of the widget customization menu so that you can have a better feel for where everything is. All right, starting at the top, you have the name of your widget. By default, it's titled Web Widget, but you can easily change that by clicking that little pencil icon. And you'll more than likely want to rename your widgets as you begin creating more than one. And moving on to the first tab in the customization menu, which is Appearance. This is where you can add a logo, change the color and position of the widget, and add a welcome message. Next is the Content tab. And this is where you'll add and configure the actual content that is shown within the widget. Freshchat breaks it down into two sections. There are topics and FAQs. Topics are literal topics that the user can click on to chat with an agent or a chatbot. And then the FAQs are static categories that the user can click on to open and get more information, but they don't have the chat feature. So simply put, topics allow the user to chat, FAQs don't. Next are the preferences. And this is where you can configure and toggle various preferences settings for your widget. Then finally, we have the embed code section. This is where you can get the tracking code to add to your site, and this is what will allow the chat web widget to display on your site. Then in the bottom right corner, you'll get a preview of your chat widget where you can see what it looks like and test it out before adding it to your site. This is a must-have because you'll definitely want to QA and test the widget before unleashing it to your audience, and we'll definitely be doing this in a few moments as well. So with that being said, let's start building our widget. Okay, so to start, I'm going to edit the appearance. So let's open the Appearance tab. And the first thing I'm going to change here is the logo. By default, they start you with the Freshworks logo, which displays here in the upper left corner of the widget, but I obviously want to change that so that it uses my logo. So to swap out the logos, click the Upload Logo button, and keep in mind that they recommend using a JPEG or PNG of 5 megabytes max that is up to 20 by 20 pixels. So let me grab my logo really quick, and now my Blog with Ben logo is being used within the chat widget. All right, below that is where you can add a welcome and sub-welcome message, conversation title, and FAQ title. So in the fields provided, just type what you want them to say. And for this example, I'll have my welcome message say, "Hello there." And as you do, you'll see the preview widget update on the right-hand side of the screen. And then my sub message will be, "Ask me a question or two." The conversation title will be, "Chat with me." And I'm actually not going to use the FAQs, so I'll leave that blank. But if you plan to use them, add your FAQ title here. Below that is the brand color. And this is where you can change the colors used throughout the widget. And you can toggle between solid and gradient colors here, as well as choose the actual color used by opening the color picker tool. And you can use the lever or the little tool there to change and test different colors. Now, if you know the hex color code of your brand, you can add it in that little box under the color picker tool. And you'll notice that depending on what color you use, the text color changes from dark to white. Now, I want it white text, so I'm going to select a color of blue that permits that. Now, one thing I should point out is that if you need to use a different color text altogether, you can change the color of text with custom CSS. And since we're using WordPress in this video, you can add your CSS edits within the WordPress customization menu. Now, we're not going to cover that in this video, but if you need any assistance with that, just reach out in the comments and I'd be happy to give you the code and walk you through the steps. Okay, next you'll want to update the color of the button and widget launcher, and the buttons are used within the chat widget, and the widget launcher is that little icon in the bottom right corner of your site that the user will click on to open the widget. So I recommend just making these the same color as the overall brand color. And this time I'll use the hex color code, so let me grab that really quick. And then in the button and widget launcher, I'll add the hex color code like so. And there we go. Next, you have the ability to change the chat background color. Now by default, it's white, but you can get creative and fun by using one of these patterns here. I'm just sticking with plain white background, but feel free to test these out if you'd like. Okay, that's going to do it for the branding. Next, let's move on to the position and behavior of the widget. And opening that tab gives you access to the various position settings. Okay, first we have the messenger visibility. By default, it's always visible, but you can hide it here if needed. This can come in handy if you need to quickly disable the chat feature on your site, or if you know that you're going to be away for an extended amount of time, you can toggle between always visible and hidden here. Now I should point out that even though the chat widget is always visible, that doesn't mean you always have to have somebody monitoring it. And that's due to setting your business hours. And we'll set the business hours and even set an away message a little later on in the video so that your visitors will know when someone is online and available to chat. But again, this little visible and hidden toggle switch is pretty handy if you need to hide the widget on your site. Next, you can configure the appearance of the chat widget launcher, and by default, it uses this little chat icon, but You can upload your own icon or switch it to text. And the text option lets you swap the icon with unique text. Just type what you want it to say in the field and voila. Pretty straightforward. But for this example, I'm going to use the icon. So I'll select that really quick. Next is the size and position of the widget. Now I'm keeping the default settings in place, but you can shrink the widget to a compact size, swap the position from bottom right to bottom left of the screen, and even change the amount of padding that offsets the widget from the corner of the screen. Finally, if you're subscribed to a growth plan or higher, you'll have the ability to remove the Freshworks branding from the widget. Just flip that switch on, and the Freshworks branding will be removed from the widget. Okay, so that's going to do it for the appearance, and I recommend saving your changes as you go, so go ahead and click the Save button, and then you should get a notification that the settings have been successfully saved. All right, let's move on to the content of the widget. So this time, open the Content tab. And this is where you can configure the topics and FAQs that will display within your widget. By default, they start you with 3 topics. As you can see, I have appointments, chat with us, and inquiry topics already in place. And again, the topics are topics that the user can click on to initiate a chat with either an agent or a chatbot. And this is where you can configure what displays within the widget. And we'll definitely change this in just a bit, but let's take a quick look at the FAQs. And they don't start you with any FAQs, which you can tell by the blank space in the widget that I've highlighted there on the right. But once you create your FAQs, you can configure and add them to the widget, and they'll display underneath your topics where that blank space is in the preview. Okay, with that being said, let's configure the topics and change some things around. So again, by default, they start you out with 3 pre-made topics. You can remove them and rearrange them here, but there are additional settings for each topic that I highly recommend changing. So to edit each topic one by one, click this little topics icon, and that will take you to the admin settings section for your topics. And again, each topic will be listed here, and all enabled topics will display within the preview of the widget. And we'll edit them in just a bit, but you can also add additional topics by clicking this plus topic button. And if you need some extra clarification on topics, click the guided tour and learn more links. That will give you a good breakdown of how your topics are managed. And speaking of that, let's start managing our topics so that we can configure them to fit my particular needs. So for this example, as I mentioned in the intro of the video, I'm a solo entrepreneur that will be adding the chat web widget on my WordPress website. Additionally, the purpose of my widget is to give my visitors another channel to reach out and ask me questions or inquire about business partnership opportunities. So I'm not really going to have a need for the appointments topic. And I didn't see a way to delete topics, but you can completely hide them from displaying on your widget by flipping the switch under the status column. And when you do that, you'll see the appointments topic disappear in the preview. All right, next, I'll want to configure the chat with us topic. So whenever you want to edit the specific topic, simply double click on the topic title like so. And this will open the topic settings where you can configure things like the topic name, photo, welcome message, trigger a bot, assign to a group, set the thread interval, and even some advanced options. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to edit is the topic name. And this displays on the front end of the topic in the widget and is typically the first thing people see when they look at the topic. So again, I'm manning this widget by myself, so instead of chat with us, I'll have it say chat with me. Next, let's take a look at the welcome message. And we'll address the image in just a bit, but within the welcome message text box, type what you want your visitors to see when they open this topic. So I'm going to have this say, hey there, need some help with your blog? Type in your question and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Now, you'll obviously want to tailor this to your particular needs, but this is how I'm going to greet my visitors when they open this topic to chat with me. Below that is where you can trigger a bot. Just flip that switch and you can enable a chatbot to take over the chat instead of a human. Now, I'm not going to have a bot in this chat topic, but I will add a bot to my business inquiry topic, and we'll do that in a few moments, but you'll need to build the chatbot first, which we'll also do later on. But either way, once you've created and configured your chatbot, this is where you can enable it within the topic. Next is the ability to assign the chat to a group. Now, I'm a solo entrepreneur, so I'm not going to have any groups or chat agents assigned to groups, but this can come in handy if you have a support group or a cart question group, etc. Turning this on will assign the chat to a group of agents and allow you to be more streamlined in the organization of your chat conversations. Next, you can edit the threading interval, and this allows you to set the time frame for when a new conversation is created. I'm leaving it as 1 day, but you can change the days, hours, and minutes for the threading interval here if you'd like. Maximum threading interval can be up to 7 days, just FYI. And think of a threading interval as how long a conversation between the visitor and the chat agent stays open. If the chat agent marks a conversation as resolved, but the customer replies within the threading interval time period, the conversation will automatically reopen. Next, we have some advanced settings, and opening this gives you the ability to customize the text that displays your respond time. And by default, it uses an auto-calculate feature that uses the average time it takes you to respond to chats. But you can just have it display a blanket custom text message by selecting custom text and then write what you want it to say regardless of the auto-calculated time. So for this example, I'll just have it say, typically replies within a few minutes. Just remember to set the correct expectation with your visitors. If it takes you 24 hours to reply, just say that or use the auto-calculate feature. Okay, the final thing we'll configure in this topic is the image. But, and this is very important, this image isn't the topic image. This image is your user profile image, which I'll show you how to update shortly. But I was kind of confused by this when I was just starting out because I assumed the image within the topic would be used here in the chat, but it isn't. The topic image we're about to upload is used on the front end of the topic within the chat web widget. And let me show you what I mean. So click the upload image button and try to use an image that's a JPEG or a PNG and is at least 300 by 300 pixels. And then once you find the image you want to use, you can adjust the position and size here if you'd like, but I like it as is, so I'll go ahead and apply it. And our first topic is complete. So don't forget to click the publish button to make these changes live. And then back at the front end of the preview of the topic, you'll see that the title, welcome message, and image have all been updated. Looks great. Okay, let's move on to the next topic, which is the inquiry topic. So go ahead and double click on where it says inquiry to open the topic settings. And for this particular topic, I'm going to use it as a way for anyone who has a business inquiry to reach out and contact me. Having topics with specific areas of interests is a great way to streamline your channels and stay organized. So the first thing I'll edit here is the topic name, and I'll have this say business inquiry. Next, I'll update the welcome message, and I'll have that say, interested in working with me? Let's chat. Next, let's update the photo. So just like before, click the upload photo icon and change the image that you want to use. And for this example, I'm using a graphic of a question mark. It seemed to work well with the topic and the brand colors. There we go. Then I'm actually going to have this topic be managed by a chatbot, but we need to first build the bot and then enable it on this topic. And I'm going to leave the remaining settings as is, so this topic is actually good to go for now. So let's go ahead and publish it by clicking the publish button. And then my two topics have been updated and are more in line with how I want them to interact with my site's visitors. So let's head back to the chat widget customization menu, and it should be in a separate browser window. So go ahead and open that. And then you'll more than likely need to refresh the page to see the updated topic. So let me refresh it really quick. And then it looks like Freshworks moves the topics in alphabetical order, but I want my chat topic to be above the business inquiry topic. So to rearrange the order, simply drag and drop the topics like so and place them in your desired order. And you'll see them change in the preview as well. And now that I'm looking at it, I've used the phrase chat with me twice, once in the conversation title and once in the topic title. Looks pretty repetitive and unprofessional, so let me update my topic title really quick. And again, you can click the topics icon here to open the topics menu, or just go to the browser window if you still have it open. And then let me edit that topic title really quick. So instead of having it say chat with me, I'll just change it to say let's chat. And then don't forget to publish any changes you make. And then back at the web widget customization menu, looks like I'll need to refresh the page. And our topics have been updated, but I'll need to rearrange the order again. So I'll drag that one to the top. Sorry about that. And much better. The titles aren't as repetitive and the overall flow is how I want it. Okay, so let's save these changes before moving on. So click the save button. And our new settings have been successfully saved. All right, next, let's quickly go over the FAQ categories. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm not going to be implementing FAQs on my widget, but I still want to walk you through the process and show you how you can create and add them if needed. Okay, so just like the topics, you can configure the FAQs here within the customization menu by clicking that little browser icon next to where it says FAQ categories. And this will open a new browser window at the FAQ management page. This is where you can build and enable your FAQs that will display within your chat widget. And by default, Freshchat starts you off with the sample categories so you can see how they're organized and structured. Also by default, the sample category and corresponding FAQs are hidden from the front end of your chat widget, so don't worry about any of this. It's strictly for informational purposes. And to keep it simple, your FAQs are housed within specific categories. So within each category, you'll create FAQs that are related to that category. For example, you can have a returns category that has FAQs about returning products and your return policy, or maybe an IT category that houses all of your IT FAQs. Either way, to create your first FAQ, you'll start by creating a category. So on the left-hand side of the screen, click the Add Category button. Then from here, you'll want to add the title, description, and tags. And for this example, I'm going to title the category Food Blog Questions. Then the description will be questions related to starting a food blog. Then you can add tags to help you filter relevant categories to show up to your users. I'm not using FAQs, but example of tags for this category could be food blog. Then below that, you can configure which platforms it displays on. Again, I'm leaving all of these checked, but you can distinguish between web and mobile platforms if you'd like. Then you can also upload an image to represent the FAQ category in your chat widget. This is like the topic image we uploaded a few moments ago, and I recommend doing that. But again, I'm not using FAQs for this example, so I won't be uploading an image right now. And then once you've filled everything out and uploaded an image, go ahead and click the Publish button. And in a few seconds, your new category will appear and you'll be ready to add your FAQs. So to add FAQs to a particular category, click on that category. And then on the right-hand side of the screen is where the FAQs will live. And we obviously don't have any in the food blog questions category, so to add them, click the Add FAQ button towards the upper right corner of the screen. And then this is where you'll add the contents for each FAQ. And it's pretty straightforward. You'll give it a title, add the content to the FAQ, which will be the answer to the frequently asked question. And then just like the category, you can add tags and distinguish which platform these will display on. Now, I'm speeding through this for the sake of time, so that's why a lot of this is just blank, but hopefully you get the idea of how this works. Then once you've filled everything out, click the Publish button, and the new FAQ will be listed, and you can see that the food blog questions category now shows that it has one FAQ in it. All right, so you're probably going to want to add more than one FAQ to your category, so just follow the same steps as before to add additional FAQs to each category. And then once you're done here, head back to the widget customizer and refresh the page. Then this time under the FAQ category section, if you click the Add FAQ Category drop-down menu, you should see your newly added category. And then selecting that will display it within the chat widget. Now, we can't test it out just yet, but if you go to the Embed Code tab you can open the preview widget and test the behavior of the FAQ. And when a user clicks the FAQ, it'll open that within the chat widget where the FAQs in that category will be listed. And the user can then open each corresponding FAQ. Okay, once you've created and added all of the topics and FAQs that you want to display on your chat widget, you'll click the Save button. However, I'm not using FAQs in this example, so I'm going to remove the one that we just created. And anytime you need to remove a topic or FAQ from your chat widget, simply click that X next to whatever it is that you want to remove. And keep in mind that this is just removing it from the widget, not your account. And then that FAQ is no longer displaying. All right, next let's head over to the Preferences. So go ahead and click the Preferences tab. And this is where you can configure the preferences for the chat widget. Simply flip the switches on and off next to the preferences that you want to enable or disable. And for this example, I'm going to leave the default preferences on, and then I will turn on the show typing indicator. So I'll flip that switch on, and then you'll be able to tell the preferences are on whenever they turn blue. And I feel like the typing indicator is a good user experience because it lets everyone in the chat know when messages are being typed. Okay, so that's the only one I'm turning on for now, so go ahead and click the Save button if you made any changes. And then moving on to the Embed Code. So let's click that tab. And this is where you can access the tracking code to add to your site. This essentially enables the chat widget on your website. Then towards the right-hand side of the screen in the bottom corner is the live preview of your widget. This is great for testing and QAing before making it live for the world to see. However, before we test it, we still need to build the chatbot. If you recall, I'm going to have a chatbot in my business inquiry topic so that whenever someone clicks on that topic, they'll be interacting with a chatbot that will field questions and then send them my way for future correspondence. So next, let me walk you through the process of building a chatbot as well as setting up the conversational flow and dialogue so that your bot assistant can help you field chat conversations. In this portion of the tutorial, we're going to build a chatbot and assign it to a chat topic. This will allow me to be more efficient with my chat widget as it will free up my resources to focus on more complex and nuanced needs of my site's visitors. Chatbots can also play a crucial role in lead generation and data collection. Now, as you'll see in a few moments, the way I'm setting this chatbot up is to essentially act as a lead gen form that will collect inquiries and email addresses and then pass that data along to my inbox. Now, you don't need to set your chatbot up exactly like I do. My particular setup is kind of unique, but nevertheless, this part of the video will still show you some crucial aspects of setting up your bot so that it communicates effectively with your visitors or customers. So, with that being said, let's build a chatbot. Okay, so we left off at the embed code section of our chat widget, and if you recall, I'm going to build a chatbot for my business inquiry chat topic. So let's head over to the topics really quick by clicking the Content tab, and then open the topics management page by clicking that little icon. And then double click on the topic you want to add the bot to, which for this example will be the business inquiry topic. Then from here is where you can access the bot templates. However, you don't always need to go through all those clicks to get to your chatbot templates. We just went this way because we're already in the widget customizer and we were adding a bot to a particular topic. Either way, you manage and create new bots by clicking on the Manage Bot links here within the topic settings, or in the left-hand side nav. Click on that little robot icon, and either one of those will take you to the bot template page that you're looking at right now. So, for me, this was one of the big selling points of Freshchat. They have a ton of pre-built bot templates for specific niches and industries ready to go out of the box. As you can see, there are bot templates for airlines, e-commerce, edtech, financial services, healthcare, hotels, inner-city logistics, mutual funds, payments, Shopify, travel, telecom, and more. And these templates don't require any coding and provide personalized resolutions to customers and site visitors' inquiries, in multiple languages I might add, without needing a live agent to intervene. And for this example, I'm going to build a chatbot that will act as an intake form for individuals or companies that have business inquiries for Blog with Ben. So I'll be using the welcome bot template, but I will make some adjustments to it. But either way, once you find a template that you want to use, hover your mouse over it and click on the Use button. And this will bring you to your chatbot flows, where you can see sample flows created to help you get started. And a flow is a series of connected dialogues that make up the bot. You can have any number of flows in the bot that get executed sequentially when the bot is triggered. And to help you get familiar with it, let me give you a quick tour of the chatbot builder before we dive in. So if you look towards the upper left corner, you'll see a little navigation menu. And this houses the various sections of the builder where you can configure your bot's flows, natural language, customize where you can customize the name and image used for the bot, conversations, analyze, and some additional settings. And since we're in the Flows tab, on the left is where your current flows will be listed, as well as the dialogues associated with each flow. Then towards the center of the screen, you'll see the flows and dialogues listed again, but this is your builder and is where you can edit and tailor the dialogue within each flow to meet your specific needs. This is essentially where you're editing the content that the bot will be using. Now, for this welcome bot template, there are only 2 flows containing dialogues. The hello flow, which is the current flow we have selected, and it's marked number 1, and then the welcome flow. It's the second flow, marked number 2, and we'll look at that one in greater detail in just a minute. But if you want to add a completely new flow, simply click this plus icon and a new flow will be added where you can add additional dialogues within it. And speaking of dialogues, if you want to add dialogues to a flow, click either the plus icon or the new dialogue button. This will add a new dialogue where you can then input the text, action, and conditions for the particular part of the conversation. All right, next, let's take a closer look at this template so we can begin tailoring it to my specific use case. Okay, so starting with the hello flow, which you can see is the current flow that I have selected. Then on the right is where the dialogue within that flow will be housed. And a few things I want to point out about this dialogue. First, you'll see that each dialogue has a number associated with it. The first dialogue is numbered 1.1, which means it's the first dialogue within the first flow. And if I were to add a new dialogue to this flow, it would then be numbered 1.2 and would be the next dialogue that would be executed by the bot, since all of the dialogues that are created are executed subsequently. Then in the text area within the dialog box is where the bot's dialogue will be displayed. This is what your bot will say, and it can be edited, which I'll show you how in just a few moments. Then if you look towards the right of the dialog box, you'll see a forked arrow icon and a blue marker with the numbers 2.1 inside of it. The forked arrows icon allows you to set conditions for a dialogue. And a condition is like an event that will trigger an action for the bot to take. This particular condition is that when the flow is finished, it will automatically trigger the next flow in line, which is represented with the 2.1 blue marker, and that indicates that the chatbot will initiate the 2.1 welcome flow and dialogue. Now, I know I'm throwing a lot of jargon at you right now, and this may seem confusing at first, but once we get going, I can almost guarantee that you'll start to get the hang of flows and dialogues and understand how they're structured. Plus, when you test out the bot, you'll get to experience the flow firsthand and understand how everything works. At least that was the case for me. I really started to understand the flow, dialogue, and conditions when I tested the behavior and interacted with the bot firsthand, which we'll definitely do in this video. But now that you have a better understanding of the chatbot builder, let's start building out our flows and dialogues for this welcome bot. Okay, so by default, the first dialogue within the hello flow says, hello there, I'm the, and then it's using this smart tag bot name. This means that it will pull whatever the title of your bot is and use it here in the dialogue. However, I'm just going to type it in and change it so that you could see how easy it is to edit these dialogues. So if you want to change the text of a dialogue, simply place your cursor in the dialogue text box and start typing. So for this dialogue, I'm going to change it to say, hello there, I'm the Blog with Ben bot assistant, Jimmy, and then close the dialogue editor. Just click anywhere outside of the dialogue box, and this one is good to go. And remember, by default, the condition for this flow was that whenever it was completed, the bot would trigger the upcoming 2.1 flow, which is the welcome flow. And to start editing that flow, within the flow menu on the left-hand side of the screen, simply click on it, and you'll see that this flow opens up and has multiple dialogues associated with it. It's a little more complex, but this enriches the overall user experience. Okay, so our hello flow had a condition to trigger the 2.1 dialog when it was completed. And you can see it listed here where the dialog box shows the 1.1 condition marker on the left there, pointing to the 2.1 dialog, what's your name? These indicators are to help you visually understand the overall flow of the conversation. If you don't see any of the blue markers, that means that when a dialog is completed by the bot, it will move on to the next sequential dialog within the flow, which is visually laid out for you to again help you understand the flow of the conversation. Okay, so I'm going to continue to edit and tailor these dialogues to fit my particular situation. So within the 2.1 dialog box, I'm going to change this to say, before we get started, what's your name or business you're associated with? Then one thing I want to point out is that if you look directly below the dialog box, you'll see a name field. Each dialog allows you to add a response that includes various input options like customer details such as name, email, phone number, etc. There are also other more general input options like a text field, drop-down, carousel, etc. And these not only add a response, but a break in the bot dialog and toss the conversation to the human user interacting with the bot, meaning the bot can't move on to the next dialog box until this response is filled out by the human user. And speaking of that, once the user inputs their name, the bot will move on to the next dialog box, which is 2.2. And this one says, hi customer name, which customer name is a smart tag, and it will take whatever the human user inputs into the name field and use it here. So I'll leave that, but I will change the rest to say, what is your business inquiry for Blog with Ben? Then you'll see that the response this time is just a text field. And this gives the human user a blank slate, so to speak, and they could type whatever they want to inquire about in that field. Then once it's filled out, the bot will trigger dialog 2.3, which says, please wait as I connect you with an expert from our team. Now, I don't have a team, so I'm going to edit this to say, please wait as I send your request to Ben. Then there isn't a response form for a human to fill out, so the bot will automatically trigger the next dialog, which is 2.4. And this says, while we wait, could you please share your email? We'll use this to reach out if we get disconnected. However, that's not how my particular communication flow is going to work. I'm actually going to have the bot intake inquiries and email addresses, and then I'll reply to those inquiries via email, not chat. I know this may be different than most situations, but that's how I'm choosing to manage this bot conversation and flow. So I'm going to have this dialog say, we'll use this to reach you and reply to your inquiry. And there we go. Then you'll see that the response this time is specifically an email address. So the human user will then be required to input their email address before continuing the conversation with the bot. This is lead gen at its finest. Then once they fill out their email address, the bot triggers dialog 2.5, which I'll change it to say, thank you, your inquiry has been sent to Ben's inbox, and you should get a reply within 24 hours to the email you provided. Is there anything else I can help you with? Type yes or no. Now, this is where we're going to get somewhat intricate with our dialogue and flow because I'm now giving the user an option that will trigger conditions, meaning on the condition that they type yes, it will trigger a specific dialogue, and then if they type no, it will trigger a separate but specific dialog box. That's why I specified that they type yes or no. And we're going to use those words to trigger the conditions so that the bot will know how to facilitate the rest of the dialogue and conversation. So first, I'll need to give the human user the ability to respond. So below the dialog box, click on where it says Get Response. And then this opens a drop-down where you can filter and select the type of responses you want to present to the user. And I want a text field, so I'll search for text. And there it is, so I'll select it. And we now have a text box that will appear below this dialog and will allow the human user to answer the question presented by the bot. Next, let's build the replies to the human's response. So we'll need to add a brand new dialog box by clicking this plus icon. Then click that little chat bubble icon. And this opens a completely new dialog box ready for the bot's reply. And this particular bot reply will be in response to the human user if they type yes, that they would like help with something else. So in the dialog message box, I'm going to have our chatbot say, "Great, what else can I help you with?" Then in order for the human to respond, I'll need to give them a way to reply. So let's open the Get Response options. And again, I'm going to use the text field. This lets them type whatever they want. And then you'll see that a new dialog has been created in number 2.6, and it's replying to the human who answered yes, that they would like assistance with something else. And then there's a text field for the human user to type whatever they need to type. Next, I'll need to create another separate dialog box that will be the bot's response to the human if they say no, they don't need anything else. So once again, we'll need to add a new dialog, so click the plus icon, and then the chat bubble. And this dialog box will say, "Got it. Thanks for stopping by. Ben will be in touch shortly." Then below that is another default dialog box that came pre-made with this welcome chatbot template. However, this dialog is set to private, meaning the human user can't see it, and it also has an action attached to it that tells the bot to make this conversation available for assignment in the back end of Freshchat's team inbox, which we'll go over in just a sec, but this basically sends it to the conversation inbox in your Freshchat account and will allow you to monitor, manage, and reply to this conversation. Okay, so now that our conversation flow and dialogues have been created, it's time to create our conditions. Remember, the dialog box 2.5 asks the human user if there is anything else they need help with, type yes or no. So we need to create the conditions to tell the bot which dialog box to trigger based on the human's response. So to create a condition for a dialog box, click that little forked arrow icon, and this will open the conditions builder. And this is where you can create conditions to interlink dialogues based on certain logic or values. And let me show you how it works. So first, we'll want to create our first condition by clicking where it says plus new condition. And from here, you could build the logic behind the condition and determine the flow of the conversation based on some values. And this can get somewhat confusing if you're brand new, at least it was for me, but it's super easy to figure out once you get in there and start setting things up. So first, you'll have 3 fields to set up the conditional logic and a 4th field below them to establish what should happen when the conditions are met. So to build this condition, click on the first field, and you'll be presented with an insert menu where you can choose from one of the values. For this example, the human user will be using dialog to trigger this condition. So I'll select dialog for the value. Then we'll need to determine which dialog exactly. So the one we want is in the welcome flow, so I'll select welcome flow. And then we want the 2.5 dialog box, so I'll be sure to select that one. And this could get somewhat confusing, but since our condition is for one word, we'll keep that second field set to equals, and the third field lets you set up the value to which you compare to the first field. Simply put, type the word that you want to trigger the condition. So for this one, it's going to be the word yes. So real quick before we move on, what our first condition is saying is that if the word yes is used in the dialog 2.5 response, then that will trigger the condition which we will set right now. So in the 4th field, this lets you determine where the conversation will go based off of the yes answer. Again, we want the bot to trigger the 2.6 dialog, so click the insert icon in that Go To field, and then select Welcome Flow, and then select the 2.6 dialog box. Again, if the human user's response is yes to dialog 2.5, the bot will now trigger the 2.6 dialog in response. And awesome, we have our first condition. Next, let's build the other condition if the human user answers no. So staying in this condition builder, since it's still associated with the 2.5 dialog box, click the plus new condition box in the upper right corner of the screen. And for the sake of time, I'm going to speed through this condition. So just like before in the first field, click the insert icon and select dialog from the dropdown, and then the welcome flow and the 2.5 dialog. And then we'll keep the comparison in the second field set to equals, And then in the third field, I'll type the word no. Next, we need to tell the bot which dialog to trigger if they answer no. So click the insert icon in the fourth field and select the welcome flow, but this time I'll select dialog box 2.7. So this is saying that if the human user answers no in the dialog 2.5 response box, then the bot will trigger the dialog 2.7, which is the end of the chat, and essentially sends everything to my Freshchat conversations inbox. All right, so that's going to do it for the conditions. Don't forget to click the save button to set this in place, so let me do that really quick. And there we go. Then now if you look at our conversation dialog flow, you'll see the condition markers have been placed next to the dialog boxes that they are associated with. Again, just another helpful visual to assist in the visualization of how this chat is going to move along based on the responses from the human user. All right, now that everything is set in place, one great feature in this chatbot builder is that they give you the ability to test the bot and make sure everything is behaving as expected. It's one thing to map it out here, but we'll want to test out the responses and the flow to make sure our conditions and dialogues are working properly before unleashing this on a live website. So if you look towards the upper right corner of the screen, there's a preview button. And clicking on that will open a preview chat widget where you can actually chat with our newly created bot to make sure everything is working as expected. And as you can see, our hello flow and dialog box with the welcome message are the first to display. And then the second welcome flow is automatically triggered with the before we get started dialog box. Perfect. Now, one thing I do notice is the bot's name. It's using the default title that the template started me out with, but I'll show you how to change that in just a bit. Okay, so far so good. Our flows and dialogues are behaving as expected. Next, let's test out the conversation. So the bot is asking for a name or business. I'll type the name Ralph in the chat widget and send it through. And beautiful, the name response has triggered the next dialogue in our chat sequence, and it uses the correct name, Ralph, and asks what the inquiry is about. And this time I'll type my response to the chatbot, and this will be the business inquiry to Blog with Ben. So I'll say, we are interested in partnering with him and having him promote our products. And when I send it through, the chatbot knows to trigger the next two dialog boxes, which are correct. However, now that I'm looking at it, I could have probably combined all of this into one dialogue, but either way, it works. I kind of like this because it breaks it up a bit. And then next, it's asking for my email address, so I'll input that really quick. And perfect, we get the next dialogue in the sequence. However, now we are at the dialogue that has the conditions. So let's test the yes response. So I'll type yes. And check that out. Based on the yes text, the bot knows to trigger the correct dialogue asking what else they need help with. So I'll type a quick response. Does he offer freelance work for YouTube videos? And boom, the bot ends the conversation with the correct closing dialogue. Now, for the sake of time, I'm not going to go through the no response because I actually tested it earlier and it worked, but we'll go over each response again before we launch the widget on our website. Okay, we're almost done here, but the last few things I want to change are the bot's name and avatar. It's using the copy of Welcome Bot as the name and the avatar, although cute, I want to change it to something more blue to match my brand. So if you open the Customize tab, from here you'll have the ability to configure the bot's name and avatar that's associated with it in the chat widget. And it's pretty straightforward. In the bot name field, just type what you want its name to be. And I'm just going to name this guy Jimmy. Then for the avatar, you can select from the little graphics that they have here, or you can upload your own. But I'm just going to use the first one there, so I'll select it. And perfect, much better. Jimmy is ready to make some business deals. Okay, so let's save these changes really quick. So click the save button. And then I'm going to preview it again really quick to make sure our changes were implemented. So let me open the preview environment really quick. And we'll give it a second to load. And perfect, the name and avatar have been updated. Now you can get even deeper with the natural language and conversation settings if you'd like, but for the sake of time, this chatbot is going to be just fine. All right, so once you're done configuring your bot's conversation flow and dialogue, you'll want to publish it so that it will be available to use within your chat widget. So within the upper right corner of the screen, click the Publish button. And then you'll get a notification asking if you're sure you want to publish it, and I do, so let's click the publish button again. And there we go. Then you can monitor your chatbot status here in this little drop-down menu. As you can see, after we published it, it was marked as being the first published version, and you can go through various versions here if you need to revert back to an older one. It's pretty helpful. Okay, next it's time to deploy this bot onto my business inquiry topic. So if you click the deploy button in the upper right corner of the screen, that will take you to your topics management page. And again, I'm using this bot on my business inquiry topic, so I'll open that one up really quick. Then within the trigger bot section, now that we have built our bot, when you flip that switch on, you'll have the ability to select from your current bots. So click where it says choose a bot, and there it is. I'll select Jimmy. Then you also have the option to choose whether to trigger the bot in regards to business hours. Now for this example, I'm going to have the bot display inside and outside of my business hours, so I'll keep both selected. And I should point out that we haven't even set up the business hours for our chat widget yet, but we will a little later on, as well as an away status. All right, so that's all you have to do in order to deploy a bot within a topic. So go ahead and click the publish button to set everything in motion. And we're pretty much done with our chat widget and bot configuration. Next, let's head back to the chat widget customization menu. And I already have it open in another browser tab, but if you don't, remember you can get here by going to Admin Settings. And then within the chat channel section, click on Web Chat. Then open the web widget that you want to edit. And then click on the Embed Code tab. All right, and then once again, I know it may seem like we do a lot of testing, but I highly recommend a thorough QA and testing session of your chat widget and bot to ensure everything works as it should before you deploy on your live website. So once again, let's open the live preview by clicking on where it says Go to Live Preview. And this opens up our chat widget preview where we can begin testing. So first, I'm going to open the Let's Chat topic. Remember, this is the topic that will be monitored by a live chat agent, which is me. And a few things I want to point out here is that anytime someone clicks on a topic and replies, there will be a notification alert sent to your Freshchat account that will be accompanied by a sound. So let me send my reply really quick. And even though we're in the preview widget, the conversation will still be sent to my Freshworks account and a notification will accompany it. And when I do, you'll hear the audio notification. Now please keep in mind that you can change the sound of this notification, and I'll show you how to do that in the end of the video, but this helps you stay on top of messages coming through so that you can reply in a timely manner, or if you have multiple agents, you can know when to assign the conversation to the appropriate chat agent to field the inquiry. Additionally, to help the visitor using the chat, they have the option to allow push notifications on their end if they'd like. Okay, so now that we've sent a reply in the chat widget, let me show you how the chat works internally in Freshchat so that you can reply back. So if we head to our Freshchat dashboard, as I mentioned a little earlier, anytime a reply is sent through a chat widget, a notification will be sent to the Freshchat account and will display here under this bell icon. And clicking on it will open the list of notifications, always listing the most recent ones first. Then clicking on the notification will take you to the conversations inbox of your Freshchat account. You can also get to your conversations by clicking the chat bubble icon on the left-hand side nav of your dashboard. And this will bring you to your team inbox where all of the conversations that come through your chat widget will be housed. This is also where your agents will reply to messages that come through the widgets as well. And as you can see, even my test chat has come through here, but this is a good example of how the backend experience works for the chat agents and will give you a good visual of how you'll reply to messages that come through the widgets. So again, we're in the conversation that I started in the preview chat widget, and you'll see the conversation has already begun, and you may notice that the contact is titled Bobbing Apple. Freshchat uses these funny names for each chat that comes through, but you can edit this and create a contact to help you stay organized if needed. Then to reply, all you'll do is type your response in the field provided towards the bottom of the screen, And Freshchat is equipped with many of the features of modern text editors. When you compose your reply, you can format the text, add hyperlinks, and even include rich media like emojis and images. But for this example, I'm just going to type a text response. And when I send my reply through, it'll show up here in the team inbox conversation. And then if we head back to the chat widget preview, you'll see that my reply as a chat agent has also come through the widget, and the conversation has been continued. This means the topic and chat functionality are working. Beautiful. Now, a couple of things I want to go over before we move on. These are just some house cleaning tips, but they can go a long way in presenting professionalism when you're chatting with customers and potential business partners. So what I'm talking about are these two images and titles being used in the chat widget. First, the chat agent avatar, which is using my first name and an image of myself. And if you're seeing a default letter icon for the avatar and the incorrect title, then this can be updated in your account profile. And let me show you how to do that really quick. So I'm going to exit out of the preview. Then in the upper right corner of the screen, click on your account avatar. And from that drop-down menu, select Profile Settings. And this will take you to your Freshworks dashboard, and you can update your name within the Work Info section, and then you can update the image used for your avatar by clicking on it. And this will open the uploader where you can drag and drop an image or upload one from your computer. But either way, that will update the name and image being used for your chat widget avatar. Then let's head back to Freshchat again, and remember, you can use the Freshworks switcher in the bottom left corner of the screen, and then click on the account you want to access. And we're going to Freshchat, obviously. Then really quick, I'm going to access the chat widget preview to show you the next house cleaning tip. And just a quick refresher, in order to do that from your Freshchat dashboard, you'll hover your mouse over the gear icon on the left-hand side nav and click on Admin Settings. Then under the chat channels, select Web Chat. Then open the web widget by clicking on it. Then open the Embed Code tab. And then open the live preview of the chat widget. And then I'll open my first topic. And then next, I want to show you how to update the image and title being used for the welcome message. Mine currently has a letter B for the avatar and blog with Ben, which is all one word in using lowercase letters. This looks kind of unprofessional and doesn't match my brand. So if you're seeing some weird stuff here, this is how you can edit it to make it more in line with your brand. So first things first, head back to your admin settings by hovering your mouse over the gear icon and clicking on Admin Settings. Then this time, I'm going to use the search bar and type the words chat widget. And then we want chat widget settings, so go ahead and open that up. And from here, you can update the image and business name. These are what's used for the avatar and title for the topic welcome message within the chat widget. So in the Your Business Name field, I'm going to change this to say blog with Ben. I'm using 3 words with the correct capitalization to match my brand. And then for the image, just click the default avatar and upload an image you want to use. And I'm just using the same image as my user profile since it's just me using Freshchat on my site. But again, you may want to upload a logo or different graphic from your avatar depending on your particular situation. But either way, once you're done, go ahead and click the Save button. And after the changes have been successfully saved, if we head back to our Freshchat account by once again using the Freshworks switcher, and I know these steps may seem repetitive because we're going back and forth, but it's good practice if you're brand new. And then open the admin settings. And open the web chat. Select your web widget. And then open the Embed Code tab. And we'll open the live preview. and our topic, and voila. You'll see that the welcome message has been updated and is now using the correct name and avatar. Looks much more professional and was a small hiccup that took me a day or so to figure out how to fix. But with some awesome help from the Freshworks support team, they showed me how to quickly fix this. Okay, moving on. Next, let's embed the chat web widget and launch the chatbot on a live WordPress website. Okay, we're almost done. The chat widget has been configured, the chatbot and dialog have been built. Now it's time to embed the chat widget on a live WordPress website and make it available for users. Now, the way I'm going to go about this is that I'm going to embed the snippet of code here myself with the help of a WordPress plugin. And if you're using WordPress, this is the way to go, as I'll be walking you through the process step by step in just a few moments. However, if you aren't running WordPress for your site and you aren't very technical, then I recommend either reaching out to Freshchat's help or hiring a developer to add the code to your website. You can easily find a freelancer on a site like Upwork.com, and they'd be happy to do it for you for a small fee. Just click the send this to a developer and you can send them this embed code to add to your site. Either way, for this particular example, we'll be using WordPress and the WordPress plugin called WP Code. This will let us easily inject the code before the head tag of my WordPress site. And I'll link to this plugin in the video description below. It's free and super easy to use, so let me show you how to set it up. Alright, so first things first, let's head over to my WordPress dashboard. And from here, if you haven't uploaded and activated the WP Code plugin, go ahead and hover your mouse over Plugins and click on Add New. Then in the search field, type WP Code, all one word, and it should be the first one listed. And simply install and activate it, and once you do, you'll hover your mouse over Code Snippets on the left-hand side nav of your WordPress dashboard, and click on Header and Footer. And this will bring you to the plugin's global header and footer scripts. This is where you can paste code that needs to be displayed in the head, body, and footer sections of your site. And depending on the type of code you have, it will vary on where you paste it. However, as I just mentioned, we need to paste our Freshchat embed code before the head tag. So let's go back to Freshchat, and then within the embed code section, click the copy button, and this will copy the snippet of code that we need. Then head back to WordPress, and within the header section, simply place your cursor in that text box and paste the code from Freshchat. And I'm on a Mac, so I'm pressing Command P on my keyboard to paste it. Then click the Save Changes button in the upper right corner of the screen. And once your settings have been successfully saved, the chat widget is ready to go. So let's test this out on a live site. So I'm going to visit the front end of my website really quick. And check that out. We have the chat widget launcher icon displaying in the bottom right corner of the screen. And when clicked, it launches the chat web widget, confirming that the code and plugin worked. Beautiful. Next, let's test out the user experience and make sure everything is behaving correctly on a live website. So first, let's open the Let's Chat topic. And we get the correct welcome message with the updated blog with Ben title and avatar. And then I'll submit my question. And when I do, you'll hear the notification bell letting you know a new chat has been started. You can change that sound if you'd like, and I'll show you how to do that in a few seconds. Then if we head over to our Freshchat dashboard, you'll see the notification bell has lit up, and clicking on it will open the drop-down where that new chat will be listed. And then clicking on that will take us to the team inbox conversations where we can continue and monitor the conversation. And I'll send a reply back really quick to make sure that everything is syncing up correctly. So in the reply field, I'll just type out my reply. There we go. Let's send it through. And then our reply shows here in the inbox. Perfect. And then if we head back to WordPress, the reply is displaying correctly in our chat web widget. Awesome. Okay, next I'll type in the user's reply. And then back at Freshchat, that reply has been stored in the conversation inbox and everything is working properly. And I'll send my reply via the conversation portal again. So in the reply box towards the bottom of the screen, I'm just going to type out a quick reply and I'll send that through. And then back at WordPress, I know we're doing a lot of back and forth, but I'm just showing you how this works on the back end and front end of your site whenever the chat widget is officially live. And back at WordPress, my reply via the Freshchat team inbox is showing up on the front end in the chat widget. And then once again, as the chat user, I'll say that I don't need anything else. And then we'll hop back to Freshchat once again. And from here, I want to show you a really cool and time-saving feature that we really didn't go over much in this video, but when you have some extra time, I recommend checking this out and setting it up. And that's using a canned response. And simply put, a canned response is a pre-made reply that can be implemented by clicking the / on your keyboard. And when you do, you'll be able to choose from all of the canned responses that you've created in your Freshchat account. And by default, they start you out with one, which is a closing thank you response, but you could set these up in your admin settings under canned responses if you want to. Then all you'll do is select the canned response, and instead of having to type anything, it's ready to go and you can just send it through the conversation. Again, this is a great way to be more efficient and ensure that you don't have any typos for replies that are either typical or things that you may want to streamline in the conversation. So I highly recommend implementing canned responses in your chat widget when you have some extra time. Okay, a few other things I want to go over here are once you're done with the conversation, you can mark it as resolved. And this helps you stay organized if you have a lot of chats coming through in your inbox. Setting the status to open or resolved will be a huge headache saver in the long run. So when you have officially ended a chat, in the upper right corner of the conversation portal, click on where it says open, and from here you can mark it as resolved. There are some additional statuses, but for my particular situation, open and resolved are the two statuses that I'll be using the most. Next, I want to show you how to assign a chat to a specific user within Freshchat. This is typically used for accounts that have multiple chat agents using Freshchat, and you'll probably always want to do this before setting a conversation as resolved, but again, since it's only me using the widget, I don't need to really worry about who these conversations are assigned to, but either way, to assign a conversation to a particular chat agent in Freshchat, towards the upper left corner, click the Add Agent link, or in the Conversation Properties section, click the Agent dropdown and select from the list of users in the account that you want to assign the conversation to. Again, you'll obviously want to assign conversations to an agent before closing out a conversation as resolved, but either way, these tips will help you stay more organized. Okay, let's head back to WordPress, and this time let's interact with our chatbot. So within the chat widget, the user can go back to the topic screen by clicking this arrow. And then this time I'll open the business inquiries topic. Remember, this is the topic that we assign the chatbot to, so let's test it out to make sure our little robot assistant is working properly. And so far so good. We get the correct hello flow dialog that automatically triggers the next dialog in the welcome flow. And then let me reply to this, and my response will be a name. And this time when I do, I'm going to turn on the audio so that you can hear what the user will hear every time a reply from the bot is sent through. And there it is. You hear that little bell? That will notify the user that a reply has been sent from the chatbot. And then we get the correct dialogue response from the bot asking what their inquiry is. So let me type that out really quick. And then the next dialogues are correct, asking them to please wait while the bot sends the request to me and then asks for the user's email address. So let me type that really quick. And there we go. Next, if you recall, are the dialogues where we set conditions. So I've specified for the bot to ask the user to answer yes or no to this question. So let's test that out. So I'll type yes as my reply. And then we get the correct conditional reply. So I'll answer with another inquiry. And then it ends with the final and correct dialogue from the bot. Perfect. Our chat bot is working. Now, I should point out that even though we didn't test out the no reply here, I did earlier, and it takes the user to the proper ending dialogue. Okay, so just like all of your other conversations within the chat widget, they will be stored in your conversations inbox within your Freshchat account. So let's head back over to Freshchat really quick. And from here, anytime you need to filter through the conversations coming through your chat widget, all you need to do is click this little hamburger icon in the upper left corner next to where it says Conversations. And this will open all of the different statuses of your conversations with the number of conversations associated with each one. This is super helpful if you have large teams of chat agents to manage or if you have multiple chats coming through. And for the sake of this example, if we click on All Open and Unassigned Conversations, you'll see that there are 5 associated with this status, and then they'll all be listed here where you can click on them and move forward with the conversation however you see fit. And just for a quick refresher, you can always click the notifications bell to access your new conversations as well. All right, before we finish up, there are a few quick tips I want to go over. The first is the availability icon within your Freshchat toolbar. This confused me at first because I thought it had to do with my availability to the user on the front end of the chat widget. However, after some research and digging in the Freshchat knowledge base, I found that this is for internal purposes only, and it lets your manager or whoever is assigning chats know that you're available within the system and then can take chats coming through. So this doesn't really matter to me because I'm a one-man show at the moment, but I just wanted to point that out because it caused me some confusion when I was just getting started with Freshchat. The next quick tip is how to change the sound that comes through when you get a new notification. By default, it's this sound. But you have the ability to change it if you'd like. And to do so, I'm going to head back to the dashboard really quick. And then in the upper right corner of the screen, click on your user profile avatar, and from that drop-down, select Settings. And then this is where you can access and configure your notification, API, and phone settings. And if we scroll down to the bottom of the page, you'll see the section where you can change the sound you receive every time you receive a notification. And then don't forget, if you make any changes here, click the Save button. All right, there we have it, a fully integrated live chat web widget and chatbot on your WordPress website using Freshchat. And whether you're looking to enhance customer support or just engage visitors more effectively, Freshchat provides the tools you need with minimal fuss. And remember, if you encounter any bumps along the way or have specific needs for your website, Freshchat's support is ready to assist you. Their team's quick to respond and incredibly helpful. And of course, I'm here to help as well. If you have any questions about what we've covered today or suggestions for future tutorials, please don't hesitate to leave a comment below. And while you're there, don't forget to subscribe for more helpful content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. So that's going to do it for this video. If you found it helpful, I'd greatly appreciate it if you would like, comment, share, and subscribe to the Blog with Ben YouTube channel. Also, if you're thinking about starting a blog, you got to check out my step-by-step tutorials. They'll show you everything you need to know in order to build, grow, and monetize a professional WordPress blog. And as always, your support means a great deal to me and my family, and for that, I thank you. So with that being said, I'll see you in the next video, and thanks for watching.